Welcome to another edition of the YouTube channel, Too Many Plugins in Delta X-Ray. I'm your host Alex. Today we're going to talk about Javelin Anticheat and kernel level access slash, in quote marks, a rootkit, because basically that's what it is. Big disclaimer over here, I'm not a security expert. I work for 25 years with computers, both Windows and Linux. I'm not a security expert, but I know a little bit about the comings and goings from computers, both Unix-based and Windows-based. We're going to go here a little bit into the story of Javelin Anticheat, which is used in Battlefield 6, but word around the campfire is that actually EA Games was already using it and have introduced it with the launch of Battlefield 2042. Maybe that also explains why it was running so badly. Who knows, because when you start accessing things in kernel level, and especially if that's kernel level 0 or kernel level 1, then you are really in the most basic primary input and output systems of the BIOS and of the UEFI. So, but we're going to first go over here. I was here just seeing on the forums over here a bunch of questions, and you get here then really sort of all the time the same corporate response that's literally just copied of a website where EA is explaining what Javelin Anti-Cheat is. But what it says here, can we have an honest discussion about cheating, or at least a real solution? It's going to happen. It's been happening since Battlefield 4. It's the plague in Call of Duty. Even with the mass amount of bans constantly, it is a stupid problem that is honestly ruining modern gaming. I would like to discuss or open space for ideas to actually combat this. Is there either a game mode or perhaps an overall system where we can verify players so that if they get caught cheating, that verification project eliminates them from ever playing again? Or ever playing again, it's also kind of harsh. Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok have verification processes to verify people are who they say they are. Yeah, but that's something entirely different, this. This over here, Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok have verification processes to verify people are who they say they are. Yeah, but that's completely something different running in an Explorer, I don't even understand how you can come with this, verifying the identity of an individual to see if they are who they claim they are, or if they're not a bot, is something entirely different than, an input, a binary input system to prevent cheating, on a kernel level, on a UEFI level, And the issue is if it's UEFI, then it's ring level 0 or ring level 1, and this is what the issue is. Can this or a similar system be brought to Battlefield to separate the real players from the fake ones? The real players from the fake ones. So, but are we here about cheating? But I'm sorry, this one for me is completely crazy. What's being said over here, So, but it's about cheating, or about people being who they say they are or not who they are. I find this really cool. The response over here, we got the response from EA Leo. Must be a Dutch guy or something, Leo. Javelin Anti-Cheat is EA's evolving approach to ensure that our players enjoy a fair gaming experience across all of our published titles. Javelin has been built from the ground up by a team of veteran engineers and analysts focused on studying cheating problems for each specific game under EA's umbrella, and designed unique features to solve those issues. Yeah, in unique features. You can say that again. It's not a unique feature. This was already done with Star Force. So there you go. In the year 1999, when it was on CDs and DVDs. It's just a rootkit, people. Javelin is already part of the other Battlefield titles, including Battlefield Labs, and will be integrated in Battlefield 6 when the game launches. Anti-cheat technology, EA Javelin. Battlefield 6 will launch with EA's proprietary anti-cheat system. Javelin running at the kernel level from day one. This means it operates at the deepest possible layer of the system. Well, the deepest possible layer of the system is ring level 0, which is literally connected to your UEFI. allowing it to detect sophisticated cheats that hide from traditional user-level tools. Javelin replaces all the solutions like easy anti-cheat and was first deployed in Battlefield 2042. Maybe that's why the cars were flying through the air and ragdolls were all over the place. Performance was terrible and hit registration didn't exist. Maybe that's also that it blocked the scoreboard because the kernel is quite, a sensitive piece of code, and it doesn't want to offend people's fifi. So they thought we don't give a scoreboard, so people who play Dreadful like me, they don't get to see that they suck in playing the game, there you go, it was introduced on Battlefield 2042, where it prevents over 33 million cheats attempts across 2.2 billion PC sessions. That cannot be in Battlefield 2042, 2.2 billion PC sessions. There must be a bunch of other titles that are using it also from EA. Because Battlefield 2042 wasn't that popular. But anyway, EA states that cheat detection is now 99% accurate, with enhancements cutting the encounter rate with cheaters in Battlefield 2042 by about 50%. Okay. The system runs only while a protected EA game is active and is designed to uninstall itself if no such game remain on the system. EA also asserts, not guarantee, asserts it limits its access strictly to what's necessary for anti-cheat, nothing more. Yeah, I hope that we need to believe this, this. So same old, I guess we'll see. Not really, I've never used a kernel level client-side system before. No one really knows its success rate, of course, but a kernel level system will be harder to get around for cheap developers, especially because they are requiring secure boot with TPM 2.0 enabled. Yeah, okay, but that doesn't really 100% protect you against cheating. I don't know why people are so fixated on secure boot and on TPM and think that that's gonna prevent every cheat around. It's just not true, Hello, I'm down for whatever. Still would rather have at no threshold for it. A verified player site or something. The track record is new system, new cheats. So the only way I see around it is verified players can't get back into the system they have been removed from. No. If cheat writers find holes in UEFI, then it will be added in vulnerability list with assigned code, and all major motherboard manufacturers should release new Wired version with fix. Yeah, for sure, all major manufacturers of motherboards are going to spend a lot of time, many development, and probably tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars to activate their biases for the video game Battlefield 6. Somehow I doubt that, Even many didn't even do it for Spectre and for Meltdown, Looks good, but a bit problematic for end users. Updating game might refuse to load if detect old BIOS UEFI version. Yeah, well, even Windows does that. If you change from AHCE to UEFI or compatible or legacy, then your computer doesn't boot also. So there you go, even if users are not cheating at all. Yeah, something like that. All these streamers that was 100% cheating. All these streamers that was 100% cheating in Call of Duty. Is it just my opinion, or are all these people just writing really... they write correct words, but they assemble sentences just in the wrong way, All these streamers that was 100% cheating in Call of Duty. All these streamers that were, you mean... plural, cheating Call of Duty in pastime. In Call of Duty is all coming over the battlefield for content. And all. Wait a second. All these streamers that was 100% cheating in Call of Duty is all coming over the battlefield for content and all. That's a very strange sentence, man. What will DICE or EA do about these cheaters? These are only there to exploit for money. Yeah, money and fame and views and clicks. I really don't want to see these guys turn this game to bleep like they Call of Duty, like they did Call of Duty. I heard nothing regarding anti-cheat from EA or DICE. They are a team of cheaters that protect each other. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, Now here again the same corporate response that was already said it before. The guy just keeps on. And here one person that actually knows what he's talking about, J3NK0J1, I think it is, or OJ1. He's a rookie, but he's a rookie. He's there since 2013. Yeah, he has his eyes open, Installing rootkit software on your machine to make sure you're not cheating and creating vulnerabilities as a result. Well, this is precisely my point over here, my point about all of this rootkit on. We go, by the way, also check out what's ring level 0 and all that kind of stuff, kernels and all that kind of, tech. But, this is for me is a little bit like this. You want to protect your house. So you call a security company to install an alarm system. The guy hangs the main unit in your hallway. And then he starts mounting motion detectors and door sensors all through your house. And then you, as your husband, as a husband, you're not going to tell the technician that he can hang a motion detector in the shower while your wife in that moment is taking a shower naked in the shower. You understand? And this is a little bit what we are doing over here. We are here giving them way too much access. Star Force, check it out yourself how that used to work. Also, what this is, as far as I understood it, big disclaimer, I'm not a security expert, but this is a rootkit, This guy is correct what he says over here, Installing a rootkit software on your machine to make sure you're not cheating. By the way, also very correct sentence, constructed, This is correct English, And creating vulnerabilities as a result, It's precisely that, It's one thing is you want safety, you want to stop cheaters, you want to stop burglars, but it cannot also completely violate every little part of your privacy and of your rights, and that's a little bit the problem over here, So this is the forum of EA. Now, let's go over here. I asked here just to the AI explain BIOS UEFI and kernel ring level. Okay, BIOS, UEFI, and kernel ring level all play distinct roles in the boot process and overall operation of a computer system. BIOS, basic input-output system, in the old times we used to call it binary input-output system, is the older firmware interface that initializes hardware and loads the operating system. UEFI, Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, is a more modern replacement for BIOS, offering faster boot times, but many times it's still running on a BIOS, but it's a more advanced BIOS, that's correct. Support for larger disks and enhanced security features. Kernel ring levels, on the other hand, define the privilege level at which different parts of the operating system run, with the kernel usually operating at the highest privilege level, ring 0. So, BIOS, basic input-output, is the firmware low-level software stored on a chip of the motherboard. In other words, your ROM chip. Its primary function is to initialize the hardware components of the computer when it's powered on and to load the operating system. BIOS performs a power-on self-test, POST, to check hardware, then locates and loads the bootloader from the designed storage devices. Correct. Looks also to other things like memory, how much memory is there and all that kind of stuff. It uses the master boot record MBR and it's in Linux GPT for partitioning and booting. BIOS is considered an older technology and is gradually being replaced by UEFI. UEFI, Unified Extensible Firmware Interface. UEFI is a modern replacement for BIOS, offering several improvements. It supports larger disks with GUID, that's Golf Uniform India Delta Partition Table, that's GPT. This is basically normally what Linux uses, and faster boot times. UEFI provides a more user-friendly interface for configuring system settings. Secure Boot, a feature of UEFI, verifies the digital signatures of the bootloader and kernel before loading the operating system, enhancing security. You see that is before you are loading the operating system, not afterwards, UEFI can be seen as an evolution of BIOS, offering better functionality and security. Here we go to kernel ring level. Operating system uses a system or privileges level called rings to protect system resources. Ring 0, also known as kernel mode is the most privileged level where the operating system's kernel runs. So basically what a rootkit does, it accesses that, Kernel code has unrestricted access to all hardware and memory. And memory can be manipulated, as you all know. You can sniff the memory and, when you have access to the memory, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. Ring 3, also known as user mode, is the least privileged level where users' applications run. So external secondary applications that you run in Windows or Linux. User applications can only access resources through the kernel, ensuring system stability and security. The kernel acts as a security boundary, preventing user applications from directly manipulating hardware or other critical system resources. Okay, and this is then over here explaining UEFI and kernel ring level in a general way. Then we just have here the nonsense of Javelin Anticheat. And then we have, this is the one that we already saw. Okay, here we go to kernel ring level in Windows graph. Okay, in Windows, the kernel operates at the most privileged ring 0, while user mode applications run in the least privileged ring 3 level. Windows primarily uses these two rings for its architecture, though some specialized systems might utilize the intermediate ring 1 and ring 2 for certain tasks. Here's a breakdown. Ring 0, kernel mode. This is the heart of the operating system, where the kernel and critical drivers reside. Code running in ring 0 has unrestricted access to system resources like memory, hardware, and devices. Ring 1 and 2. These rings are often not fully utilized in mainstream Windows system, though some specialized systems may use them for device drivers or security-related tasks. Ring 3. This is where user applications and their associated processes run. They operate with limited access to system resources and are isolated from the kernel to prevent potential damage from malicious or poorly written software. In essence, the ring structure is a hierarchical system that provides a layered security model. With the kernel at the core and user application isolated in the outer ring, this prevents user mode applications from directly interacting or damaging the core system components. While some older versions of Windows, like Windows 9X, 95, 98, 2000 NT, might have used Ring 1 for some drivers, modern Windows systems based on the NT kernel predominantly use the only Ring 0 and Ring 3. This simplifies approach is partially due to the evolution of CPU architecture, having security also implemented in newer CPU architecture, correct, and the need for more efficient resource management. The concept of protecting rings is a core component of operating system design, enabling the separation of privileges and the protection of critical system resources from unauthorized access. Okay, now, and that's then, here we are talking about Windows, and then here just really quickly, what does it mean to have root access in Linux? Okay, so kernel root access in Linux. Question, does root has kernel access? The kernel authorizes a process to access files and resources based on its ID. UID 0 or Uniform India Delta 0 is root, has full administrative privileges, can perform any system operation, while other users have varying levels of privileges depending on the assigned ID. So there you go. So, let's see, by the way, if we can also find Star Force Anti-Piracy. Yeah, so here is the old Star Force, and it used to do the same also. Kernel level 0, a rootkit, this is. And the problem with this is, with Star Force, when you go kernel access on the lowest level, level 0 or level 1, you have also, there can be vulnerabilities in it. Some time ago, there were found vulnerabilities in UEFI BIOSes. There were vulnerabilities found in TPN. And the problem with Star Force, and when you are on a kernel level, basically you are a rootkit, what you can also get with that is performance issues. It will take lots of your performance, this. And the problem with it is also is that it creates itself an invisible driver, a sort of a hardware driver in your device management in Windows or in Linux. And the problem also with this is that this can create blue screens of death and how do you call that, crashes, and that's also the problem what you have with this Javelin. When you start really doing that connected to ring 0 or ring 2 or 3, and also connected to your UEFI and your TPM, you're working there on such a primary level of an operating system and the kernel, and the BIOS, the binary input and output system, that anything that goes wrong over there will immediately give you a blue screen of death or a crash, and that was the problem also with Star Force. And with Star Force, it was also basically impossible to remove this garbage. It destroyed CD drives, DVD drives. Many people need to get rid of it. It diminishes performance, like the Nouveau also does. You just get a huge performance impact, and you get crashes, and you can get blue screens of death. And you put your system completely open to corporations to spy on you. If there's a weakness or a backdoor in it, then governments to spy on you. Hackers, if there's a vulnerability or a weakness in it, then hackers can, how do you call it, compromise and take profit of that vulnerability and exploit that, So there's a lot of questions about this, a lot of stuff not good about this. So I'm very skeptical about this. I don't like this at all, and not the Nouveau also, that kind of stuff, So, but there you go. That was a little bit about Javelin Anticheat kernel level rootkit, in my opinion. That's what it is. Anyway, stay safe, take care. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Again, big disclaimer, I'm not a security expert, but this is what I think about that. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next time.